Alright, here's a quick video figuring out some of the bugs in this thing. I got it street legal in June. It's August tomorrow, and there's still a whole bunch of bugs to figure out with this POS. I had the exhaust whack on the drive shaft. I had the sway bar hitting the engine mount over here. The Corvette regulator was not regulating, so I ended up putting this vacuum reference jobby in here. Been fighting rainwater leak still. I got this side all sorted out. Somewhere there's still a hole in this friggin' side over here. The coolant temp sensor here reads really low on the gauge, and the gauges as a whole read kind of crazy, bouncing all over. Had a fuel leak in the tank here, had to take that out, weld that back up. Looks like that's all good now. And I'll have a video getting this whole interior done here soon. That's gonna be a different one. Still needs the carpet, and I gotta wait for the goddamn water leak to be fixed first. This is all just kind of some random stuff. It'll get you caught up until August. One bolt left to tear out the drive shaft here. There's my rub mark, and I can see a witness mark on the pipe too. So I'll give that a good whack with a hammer, and then I will adjust these coilovers a little bit. I don't have much room to adjust them higher on the sleeve itself, but I got a ton of adjustability on the bracket to the housing here. This thing ain't running right, and I got the old service engine soon. No O2 sensors. I just checked both the fuses here. Both of these are okay. I don't know why the O2s ain't working. They're plugged in. All set now for the wheel to go back on. I got that end length lengthened. Got clearance here at the tie rod. And got the bump steer set up nice. I also see my rear sway bar mounts that I welded on here are bent and not going to work. So gonna have to change that to like a really heavy duty angle iron or something. That's showing a lot more than 60 pounds. I don't know what the deal is there. So the fan just kicked on. At a really low temp on the gauge. Well, this is annoying. I can't get Tuner Pro to work with the OBD link. I'm not sure what's going on. First drive at 60 miles an hour went pretty well. Looks like this thing might actually work for a summer beater. And when you're not really on the throttle hard, it's not too loud. From what I found online, all GM coolant temp sensors are the same, but if I had too much resistance, it would read low. So I was like, oh, maybe I didn't solder this connection. But I did. So now I'm not sure what to do again. That was a bigger ass ache than it needed to be. This turn signal flasher that I just replaced, some asshole put a clutch pedal and a master cylinder in the way of getting to it. I still got some kind of ground gremlin to check out, because outside it works fine. Indicator's weird, gauge is weird, and that thing's still ticking even when I shut it off. So not only does it keep flashing on the dash, even with the turn signals off, after like a minute, the convenience dinger thing goes ding, 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 ding. That's really, really annoying, so I gotta figure out what is going on there. Yeah, that's really annoying. Nice. My buddy John linked to a thread on Beretta net from like 5 years ago, where somebody else put in this EP21 flasher, which is a nightmare to get to now with these friggin' pedals in the way. And in order to make it work, there is a purple wire there. See the one that I snipped? Snip that baby. And now look, ignition on, no issues. Still got a ground. I found 2 bulbs that I got to replace, so that hopefully will take care of my dash issue. Signals, but no friggin' ticking all the time or buzzer. Fridge rubbers. Huh. I've heard of other people doing this, but apparently not with a Delphi brand sensor. Look how thin that is. I never knew there was goo on the inside of these. Man, I pressure tested this fuel tank and somehow I've still got a leak. I knew I could smell it. Okay, now I'm drying this thing out so I can do some welding on it. I found right here, it's definitely leaking. There, I welded both sides. Now I'm hoping any porosity that was in there causing a little leak is not a problem. When I undid the gas cap for this thing, it hissed, had some pressure come out. So I modified this here. This used to have a spring. It's probably like a one-way valve type deal. And now that should vent just directly out this hose, which will go directly out of the trunk compartment with this union barb. Here's that check valve assembly. Well, predictably, whacking the exhaust pipe just moved where it was hitting. So I'll whack it here again too, and hoping I got enough that it won't be a problem. And then here's the witness mark for the torque arm itself. Okay, I know in engine masters it didn't really matter on header primaries. Hopefully it doesn't really matter with an intermediate pipe either. Out of curiosity, I just weighed this thing because I was, I wanted to know what it ended up. It was like 2950 or something on the title for all the front wheel drive V6 stuff. 3,400 pounds. That's surprising. I mean, I know the iron block engine is more, is heavier than the V6 was, and the 488 is way heavier than the torsion beam. But wow, that's still a lot more than I thought it would be. I was guessing more like 3,100, maybe 3,200. This thing's just as fat as my Camaro. All right, I got it back on the lift to work on some of the stuff that's driving me crazy. Squeaks have been really annoying, so I just greased the piss out of the sway bar here. Gotta put the clamps back on. All right, as you can see, even after sledgehammering this, I'm still getting some clearance, or some contact there. I can hear it every now and then on hard bumps. So what I'm gonna do is cut that off and change the bend itself. I also finished the seam sealing so that I can actually put a carpet in here. I had like 3 friggin' firewall leaks still since this thing is a Beretta, but now it should be good for carpet. And I pulled the exhaust off the one side here because it was still hitting once in a while. I can see it was hitting on the body sometimes too, probably getting whacked into the body by the drive shaft. And I'm gonna cut off this flange here and chop it right about here and chop it about here and just make it a better shape. I do have some more pipe left over, so rather than just do an up and like a 45, I'm going to come up over straight and then down, and that should give me more clearance. Okay, finally got these little plates welded in, and now the bump stops are finally functional. Took these bushings all apart, greased them up real good, so hopefully that's the last of the squeaks. Okay, I should have a lot more clearance now. Just got to burn it the rest of the way in and fill that big old gap. Look at this. No witness marks in here on either side, torque arm or drive shaft. So that's a win. Happy with that now. Okay, a little update. That Corvette regulator is not regulating. So this is a return line that I ran through here. That was a little too long, so I put a bunch of waves in it. So I didn't have to reflare it, being lazy. And here is an AN6, which is going to go up to the regulator. So there's my regulator and the vacuum reference. And that's also nice because vacuum referenced is a little bit better for the fuel pressure. This thing has been putting out like 85 PSI almost on that pin when it's running, which is actually what the Walbro 255 is rated for. And I was running my tank out of fuel a while back so I could fix the fuel leak in the fuel tank itself. And it got to the point where it was actually getting some fuel starvation. So I was like, okay, good. I won't have hardly anything to drain out of the tank. Well, the tank still had almost 2 gallons in it. And I think that's because the return line that goes to that plastic fuel bucket wasn't actually getting any fuel return in it because my regulator is not regulating. Dude, shout out to the Sloppy Mechanics group on Facebook. I've been buying this pre-made Fragola PTFE fuel hose from Summit, which is like 50 bucks for this piece, because I've tried that Summit stuff like 8 years ago, the PTFE stuff, and it was a nightmare to assemble. But I bought this cheap China Evil Energy PTFE on Amazon for like 80 bucks for 10 fittings and 16 foot of hose, and did everything I needed. See my line here to get this regulator all set up. And dude, it was way easier to put together. The braid on the Summit stuff, you had to fray it out and then chop some of that off in order to fit the olive. This, you just fray it back a little bit, stick it together, piece of cake. It was way, way, way easier. A lot cheaper too. And I think that nylon outer braid looks way better than like the Fragola shiny stuff or the regular braided stainless. Okay, today's shakedown's all done. My fixes are good, and I can just work on the other shit I still gotta fix.